Welcome back to today's tutorial, and today we are talking about C++ functions. So if you've been following maybe from the first tutorial up to now, at least we have covered the basics, the introduction, and now we are going into the intermediate section. So a function is a block of code that performs a given task. Block of code that performs a given task. So what do we mean by a block? It is declared within this block, so it means whatever is inside here becomes a block of code. So we have very many advantages of using a function. Before we go into the syntax, let me talk about the advantages of using a function or using functions in programming. Then after we'll go into the syntax and the types of functions. One is modularity. So with modularity, it breaks down the code into reusable, manageable pieces. So assume you want to write a program, maybe a calculator program that will be doing the same task moreover over and over and over. So what you do, you break them into functions. Maybe there's a function for division, function to handle the multiplication type, like that. So all of those are functions. So modularity, the code becomes very easy in the reusable. So if you want to design a calculator for the next time, you simply import this same code or the function you wrote in the last one. Then we have the second, which is code reuse. So we reduce duplication and we save development time. Reuse like this. So if you develop a function today and you want to do the same thing tomorrow, you won't define the same function. No, you'll simply import this one and use it in the next project. So then we have maintainability or maintenance. Easier to update and modify individual code. So if you know that you have an error, you'll simply go into the function where you defined that piece of code, and at the end it becomes very easy to debug and identify errors when using functions. So these are the basic importances of using functions in programming. One is modularity, second is code reusability, and then maintainability. So now let's go into types of functions. So we have two types. One is inbuilt function, and then we have user defined functions. So with inbuilt functions, these come inbuilt with a C++ language. Maybe we can give an example of main function we use. So this one comes along with a C++ library. So this is a built-in function. We have other functions like cout. Cout is a function itself. Cin is a function itself. Then if you import the math module, you have very many functions for maximum, square root, and all those are inbuilt functions. Then user-defined functions. User-defined functions, these are the functions that the programmer writes himself to do the task he wants. So if I want to create a function for calculating the maximum number from a given list, or if I want to define a function that grades people, that is a user-defined function. It's up to you. If you want to do any task, then you define that function yourself. So these are the two types of functions: inbuilt functions and then user-defined functions. So we have classification of functions, and we can say we can classify them by their return type. So before we go into that, let's define a function. I show you the syntax. So this is the syntax. You give the return type, then you give the function name, and then you pass parameters into here, and then you define the body of the function, or a function body, and that's it all. Okay, so with the return type, we have return type functions, and these are the ones that return a value to the at the function call time. So a return type, let's say you want to define a function that does addition, then it will be addition of two integers, then it would be int by default, then we can call it addition, and then the parameters would be how many integers do you want to add. Maybe if I want x and y, like that, then this is the function, and then the return would simply be return x plus y, like this. Okay, so this is what we mean by return type. We are returning the integer type, then function name is addition, and then the list of parameters are int x and int y. Then instead of body, let's say return, because this is a return type function. So return, then this is our return. We return the sum of x and y, and the function ends there. So to use this function, we simply have to make a function call in the main function like this. Then we would simply say, maybe we have int x is equal to 9, y is equal to 10. Then we simply say cout. Oh my god. Okay, so we simply have to say cout addition into x, y, like this. Then this would give us our result as we expected. So this is what we call a function function call. So we pass our two parameters x and y. Maybe this x will confuse you, let me use another value like this. So here we pass m and n. To avoid confusion, let's use different values. So the parameters are x and y, and this m will correspond to the x, and then n will correspond to the y. So this is how we call a function, this is how we define our function, and this is the syntax of this function. So we try more functions in our tests and examples, but of now this is a return type function. So in the next function will be a non-return type function, and I'll show you the syntax of a non-return type functions. So meet in the next tutorial, but don't forget to subscribe and comment. In case you have any questions, you can write it in the comment section. I'll be here to catch up with it and give an explanation. Maybe if you didn't understand anything very well, still I'll be here to explain each and everything. Just type it in the comment section.